Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm just going to be going through a few tips that maybe if you're doing a placement as a student that you would like to know. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So just before this video starts, as you can probably see, I'm close to 100 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe if you're not, because that will make my day, honestly. Just want to hit 100 subs just because it's a nice number, you know. It's been stuck on 90 for quite a while, so yeah, make sure to subscribe down below. Oh god, voice crack. Subscribe down below and give this video a thumbs up. So yeah, first tip would be to start early. I said this in my other video on how to become a fresher. You want to really start early. People in first year, because they say in university you only need 40% to pass, most people will be like, okay, I will just get 40%, that's it. And they don't work as hard as they potentially could, right? So what you want to do as a placement student, because many firms will require 2-1, and I'll come back to this later, will require 2-1 and basically expect you to do some extracurricular activities before you even start second year, because as a placement student you'll be applying to different jobs for your placement. So like similar to like a graduate scheme job, you'll be applying to them at the beginning of your second year in September, so you won't have the chance across the second year to show what you're made of, basically. So you're going to need some evidence. Like, of course you can improve your kind of like utility and what you have in your buckle in second year, but you can't really use it as well as you would have or could have if you did it in first year. Because let's say I got, I don't know, I did an analyst role in second year, you wouldn't have evidence to back up like what you actually did, what you learned from, because you've only just got the role, so you're learning as you go. And placements typically, they shut down their applications earlier than what their deadlines are, just because so many people apply. So what you want to do is go in first year, get the experience, tell them what you've done, what you think you did well, and what you improved on. There's a lot of things that you can do in CVs to show that, and also obviously, you know, merging and kind of like morphing your CV into what they want. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because I'm not the greatest at writing CVs. I'm not terrible, but I'm not amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there that show you how to write CVs. So yeah, first key tip, which is probably the most important one, just stay on top of things and just apply to anything, do anything you can as early as possible. My second tip would be to basically, this is quite a harsh one, however it is kind of the truth. So as I said earlier, a lot of firms will ask for a 2-1 minimum requirement. However, the majority of people will be getting a first who apply for placement. So although yes, you can get away with a 2-1, it'll be very hard, especially from the financial industry. If you're trying to apply for the top 5, it's quite difficult if you're comparing yourself against someone who has 80%, let's say, as an weighted average, and you have 65. That's just the harsh truth, right? So my second tip would be to just aim for a first, honestly. Like, just scrap 2-1. No one cares, okay?
He needs some milk!
Just aim for a first, because the majority of time, people that I've known, just based off like experiences and chats I've had with them, they mainly have a 2-1 and then they apply, not a 2-1, a first, sorry, and then they apply for a placement. Just because with a 2-1, they have the consideration of your grades with your experience, and if you lack experience, they'll just instantly just cut you off. Like, it's the harsh truth, but they will most likely cut you off. However, with a first, they will like be like, okay, you've got the grades, so what do you have to complement it? Because they don't like people that are just like straight out sweats and don't do anything outside of class. Like, they don't like people that do, I don't know, all of their essays like 5 months ahead of time, and then they just don't do anything outside. Like, they don't do any, I don't know, extracurricular activities, societies, things like that. I don't know, getting a part-time job is also a really good thing, but things like that. So they want things that surround the whole package. It's not just about academics, although yes, academics is quite important, and yes, I did just say getting a first is probably preferable to getting a 2-1. You should also be doing other things outside of class. So I guess I'm going to change that tip. Instead of just aiming for a first, do as much as you can and don't just focus on academics. Focus on things around academics like extracurricular activities and societies. Okay, moving on to my third tip. My third tip would just be simply don't stress out too much, because I'm currently undergoing the process of applying for a placement. And man, I've literally applied to only 2. I've done 1 assessment test and the other one hadn't got back to me yet, just because the applications has just literally opened like 3 days ago. So kind of makes sense why I haven't replied yet. They're just reviewing my CV and stuff like that. But as someone that's going through the process currently and hasn't finished it, I will definitely say you shouldn't stress out too much. Like, getting a placement isn't the end of the world. It's not like even not getting a graduate scheme isn't the end of the world. Like, getting a job is not the end of the world, simply by the fact that there are so many opportunities out there that if you don't get one, you will 100% not get another one. That is not how it works. It's just the fact that maybe that firm believes that they weren't as compatible as you believe you would have been with them, if that makes sense. That was a bit wordy, but hopefully it made sense. So my third tip would simply be don't stress out too much. Just try your best. Just be as transparent as possible, be as much of you as possible, and just do your best. My fourth and final tip would be for students who are currently going into second year or going into first year and aren't sure about taking a placement. My highest recommendation is to just go through the placement process. You don't have to take a placement. Even if you get an offer, you don't have to take it. But it's just a really good way of preparing for when you go to the real world, in the real workspace and the actual application process, because then you'll have that kind of experience behind you, so you don't get as worried when you apply for a job later on. So like when you graduate, or when you graduate from masters or anything like that, it's just a nice process to go through. Although it is very time consuming and tedious, if you're, we've still got like a few weeks left before second year, you have plenty of time to just, look around placements, see what you do, and things like that. So try and get on the placement kind of course, but you don't actually have to do a placement. It's just a nice way of getting yourself prepared. Go through the interview test, go through the aptitude tests, go through the video interview processes and things like that. Like, these are things where you actually have to do them. You have to be tangible with them and be hands-on with them. Otherwise you won't really have the experience, because you can obviously do mock tests and stuff, but it's just kind of different from having an actual interview. Like, practicing behind the camera, yeah, you can make videos and not post them on YouTube, or do things where you just have the camera in front of you and don't record, and just, have the camera there. But having the camera actually on record, knowing that it's gonna go out on the internet, is just a different feeling, if that makes sense. Hopefully that was a good enough example, because that was kind of bad, but yeah. And for first years, if you don't know if you want to just do 3 years or 4 years, 4 years, 1 extra year, it's like, I just want to graduate, I would highly recommend doing a placement, just simply by the fact that you get to go through the application process. Even if you don't want to do placement, again, you just go through the process and then you'll be more confident when you go out to apply for a graduate scheme. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's helped you. I will be documenting my entire placement kind of journey throughout for you guys. If I get into a good place, if I get into a placement, if I don't get into a placement, I will tell you everything. I'll try my best to tell you everything, so you guys don't have to suffer as much as me. And at the end, hopefully my opinion won't change with saying, oh, don't do a placement or do a placement. Hopefully it'll stay the same, and I will still recommend you guys to do the placement process just because it's fun. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye.